back to Sportsnet Lakers, driven by your Southern California Honda dealers. I'm Allie Clifton, joined by the Hall of Famer, big game James Worthy, 7-time champ big shot Robert Horry. And guys, Lakers come in tonight off one of the most disappointing losses of the season. All eyes on the purple and gold to see how they would respond. And though they put together one of their biggest runs of the season, a 16-0 run led by as many as 19 there in the third quarter, they were able to weather the storm. A 36-27 fourth quarter win by Detroit, get enough stops, seal the deal, big game.
Yeah, a much better performance tonight. I think they were conscious about playing 4 quarters of basketball, or at least making sure that they put forth the effort. I thought tonight, for me, it was the 32 assists. The ball was really moving. Everyone was touching it. Points in the paint, 58. So, you know, AD was working in there, and they were focused on that. And I think that allowed them to get some perimeter shots as well. So, yeah, Detroit, you know, a young team, you know, kind of got back in toward the end, but the Lakers sealed the deal tonight at home.
Rob, we're going to get your thoughts in just 1 minute. But for now, let's go back to Staples Center. LeBron is standing by with Mike Trudell.
All right, LeBron, you've talked about this season going to be a process. You starting to figure anything out? Like that third quarter seemed to be one of the better stretches you've had so far.
Yeah, I mean, we won 5 out of our last 8 third quarters. We'll make it 6 out of 9 now. You know, we came in with a lot of intensity defensively, got on the ram, made some shots, we shared the ball, worked possessions, and I just believe when we work possessions from side to side and we don't get stagnant, you know, we're a really good team, and in that third quarter we did that.
We noticed you took a little shot going to the rim there. Are you good?
Yeah, I'll be all right. You know, still working through it. You know, it's I think my 3rd game back, you know, since the injury. So just every game is getting better and better. But every now and then I can feel a little bit down there. But you know, it didn't linger too much, so that's a good thing.
Defensively, what are the things that you want to see your team start to get better at as the season goes on, and really just the next couple of games go on?
A few things. One is not putting teams to the free throw line, so you know, not fouling. 2, getting back in transition. We did some possessions were really good, some we were not. And then last, defensive rebounding. You know, once we played great defense for 23, 24, 22 seconds, we got a clean glass. So, you know, I want to continue to, you know, get better with that.
And finally, you go to Sacramento. Of course, you just saw them in the 3 OT game. What's it like when you see a team this close to a time that you lost to them?
Well, it's almost like a playoffs. It's where you kind of know what to expect. You know the sets that they're running, pretty fresh, and we know we let that game slip away from us, but they played a hell of a game that game. So we look forward to going up there and getting some get back.
Appreciate it, LeBron.
All right, appreciate it.
Thanks so much, guys. Rob, I'll get your thoughts before we go on.
You know, I just like the way the big 3 played. I think they came out very aggressive, and we talked about that before the game. If you are the dominant players you're supposed to be, this is how you take over games. You don't do it just because you just got to do this each and every night. If you look at how they scored, it was efficient. They scored off good shots, you know, and if you really look at the big whole picture, the ball never really slowed down. It was never no let me go one-on-one where LeBron holds it, where AD holds it, where Russ holds it. The ball was popping. Even though the bench didn't get that many points and the others didn't get any points, that's going to happen. And I'm okay with that when the big 3 score 25-plus points each.
Right, because at the end of the day, there's only one basketball, and they did score 82 of the Lakers' 110 points. Big Game, what impressed you most about the big 3? Was it LeBron? Was it the start from Anthony Davis, or just the overall steady play from Russ all night?
They all looked like they were in leadership mode. We know LeBron is the key leader, but they all looked like they were possessing some leadership. They were very aggressive and unselfish when they needed to be. So they looked like they needed to get the team connected, and they all were moving. Like I said, 32 assists. They were moving the ball. Like, guys don't want to shoot it all the time. They just want to touch it and feel it and be involved. And so I thought they all 3 had some good leadership qualities tonight.
I think we have to talk about that third quarter for the Lakers because it has been their Achilles heel all season long. You just heard LeBron tell Mike that they're aware of it, but they've won their last 5 of 8 third quarters, and tonight they put together that 16-0 run, the largest of the season. They go up by as many as 19. I'd argue, Rob, the activity, the sense of urgency out of the locker room, which is a good sign, was a big key.
This is a great sign. You know, the Achilles heel had been the second half, and for you to pay attention to it and say, hey, we got to do something about it. And for LeBron to say, okay, we're paying attention to it, we're addressing it, that's a sign of a team that's aware of its weaknesses. And when you have weaknesses, you do have to address them. And for them to come out aggressive, they played good defense, they passed the basketball. It was no hesitation in their shots, and it was just good team basketball. I think even though this is the Detroit Pistons' 3rd worst record in the league, They had good team basketball. They passed the ball, they moved, they cut. And that's what we want to see out of Lakers, not just this one-on-one basketball, good team ball where everybody scores.
When it comes to LeBron, big game at the half, he had 15. He finished with 33. I think he put a lot of emphasis on that third quarter, understanding, as you mentioned, after that loss to the Kings, he put it on his shoulders. He has to be and put this team in a better position than they are right now.
Yeah, that's part of the formula. Make that permanent to the formula as far as winning basketball games. Having your leader recognize that the third quarter is the most important quarter, to get going in the second half. So he spoke about it. He went out and demonstrated it in this game, and then he spoke about it a little bit after the game, how they need to improve on that. And, it's key that they come out with his leadership in the third.
It was just some good shots by LeBron. He had that heat check that was a little logo style, but it were good shots by him. It was good shots by Russ. It was great shots by AD. We talk about AD not having a great shooting percentage from three. Came out, scored on the inside. Next thing you know, he's 2 for 2. Sometimes the player, you just want to see it go in the basket, like I said. And when he's playing like that, being aggressive, you have to be aware of him wherever he is on the floor, because he's too talented of a player to be shooting these percentages that he's shooting.
I know it's never about the offense, large in part because there's so much growth when it comes to the defensive side of the basketball for the Lakers guys tonight. You look at the numbers across the board defensively, things that can measure that side. 11 steals, 8 blocks, 17 turnovers they forced for 19 points. But then you also look at the offensive side, because there were times down the stretch in that second half that Dwayne Casey put on his own defensively, and the Lakers did not settle for the 3 ball. They continued to pound it inside 58-40.
Yeah, especially when you go to a zone. You definitely want to attack, get the ball in the middle. They collapsed it. They were able to get some buckets. They didn't settle, and I think that's part of, what they got to get used to. Don't settle for the outside shot unless it's absolutely there. And I think tonight, like Rob said, they made the decisions very good as far as when they were inside and when they were taking outside shots. It was that one shot that LeBron took from like half court. That was the only one. But I think they're starting to understand how to win and where to go to get that winning shots and winning defense.
I really like the defense. A lot of blocks by AD, good on-ball presence. There's a couple of times where they got lost defensively, but what really impressed me down the stretch, that last possession, how they moved, how they was rotating, how they was talking and communicating. Anytime you see guys doing this, they're communicating. That's what you got to have on the defensive end. And when you show us something like that, we know you can do it. But just don't do it at the end of the game. Do it through the first quarter, the second quarter, and third quarter. So at the end of the game, you don't have to do it because you're